Anyway, finally I heard it when it got to camp. I was like looking up because I didn't have my rain fly on. And so I see all the little stars and then just like this black blotted out spot of this big fat field mouse blocking out the stars up above me. It's just chilling on top of my tent.
My nervous system tapped out a month or so ago. It's the same thing that happens when a fish gets stunned. It goes belly up for a time until its nervous system comes back online. Resets for the fish to swim away. I hit my psychological saturation point and went catatonic. After 2 weeks of feeling pretty debilitated, I flipped over and swam northeast to Canyonlands. Fall in the desert has a cold softness. Rabbit brush, cottonwood trees, and sunflowers all ripple yellow. A final wave goodbye to the summer sun. I'd never backpacked in Canyonlands before. On my first night, I knew I'd be coming back.
I am going to go to the Chesler Park area. Right now, I'm in the opposite section of the Needles. There is so much here. This place is stunning. It is amazing. And it only takes a few miles to feel like you are just out there alone in the wilderness. And there just aren't a lot of places like that anymore. Yeah, I already know I have to come back. I've been here before, but I have to come back.
My high school photography teacher, Fern, taught us about breadth versus depth. Breadth covers a range of topics, or in this case, places. Depth is choosing a topic or place to dive into and explore deeply. I've seen a lot of the western United States. That is breadth. I deep dive into southern Utah and parts of Alaska. That's depth. Depth encourages an intimacy with place. It requires time, patience, and nuance. I prefer the substance of depth over breadth. I'd rather know one place intimately than visit dozens of places for a brief moment. I take advantage of everything I've learned in southern Utah and try to stay open to everything I don't yet know.
Yeah, since I left the main campground last night, I have not seen anyone, which is just wild because this is the busy season. You know, it was tough to get campsites and I couldn't get them close to each other or anything. I will say that the hiking is easier than I expected, but I expected it to be very hard. So there's a lot of up climbing, there's a lot of slick rock walking. I have just seen so many scratch marks from people's trekking poles. This is not the kind of place that you can't have those little rubber bottoms on your trekking poles. So I don't have the rubber bottoms, I just hold them because I know that it's actually more dangerous to try and rely on it than to not.
There's magic in the canyons, cracks, and grottos here. The air is tangy and full of potential. You'll miss it if you don't devote your time and attention in southern Utah. What you see says more about you than the landscape itself. The desert is a place where projections are easily cast upon the slick rock. I've heard people call the desert barren, lifeless, and ugly. I see none of those things. Terry Tempest Williams wrote, "When traveling to southern Utah for the first time, it is fair to ask if the red rocks were cut, would they bleed? And when traveling to Utah's desert for the second or third time, it is fair to assume that they do, that the blood of the rocks gives life to the country. And then, after having made enough pilgrimages to the slick rock to warrant sufficient separation from society's oughts and shoulds, look again, for the novice you once were who asked if sandstone bleeds." I've come to subscribe to Robin Wall Kimmerer's notion that we are in a relationship of reciprocity with land. It does me no good to believe that this place is lifeless enough to not care about me, to not care about the coyotes and field mice and juniper trees growing between rusty walls. If I believe this place cares about me, my love can be reciprocated. I get to have an intimate relationship with the desert, with the place that I love. If there's reciprocity, I'm obligated to my devotion. I'm a steward of the land, and the land can hold me, while I recover from a series of events that left me frozen in fear. I love the desert fiercely. I'm so grateful to have roots and blood in a place that constantly reminds me of the person that I am. This is a place that constantly reminds everyone of deep time and how precious and insignificant our time is here.
I've been pretty catatonic the last couple of weeks and just like frozen and unable to move. And this was my big push to get myself moving again and to get myself outside. And I guess just the reason I want to say that is because, my little creative projects, my YouTubes, it's like hiking and outdoor stuff and just nature, and like essays that I write and poetry and all these things, it's just my passion project. But I just don't want to pretend like, it's that one-dimensional.